Welcome back to Talking Lead. This is episode 41. Left hand, we are in another remote location, aren't we?
Another undisclosed secret lair of Clay Greenfield, the NASCAR truck racer.
Yeah, we are here, and he is getting ready for Talladega this weekend, and we've got our logo on our first NASCAR race.
Our first car.
It's kind of surreal.
Our first NASCAR.
Welcome to NASCAR, y'all.
Thanks, man.
It'll be fun.
We appreciate
We're going to go to Talladega and have a good run and hopefully get all exposure we can for Talking Lead, Clutch Defense, and Rescue Ranch.
That's
awesome.
right.
Looking forward to, I think we got a shot at it this weekend.
Heck yeah. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, we were fastest in practice with this truck at Daytona and Talladega for the people that aren't necessarily huge race fans. Daytona and Talladega are a very similar racetrack. They're basically the same thing, and you take a special truck to race at Daytona and Talladega that you don't use at other racetracks. So we only get to race that one twice a year, and it's a good one.
So is our truck the same one you used?
Yes, it's the same one from Daytona.
Nice.
Yeah, and we had a shot at winning that race, but we had an electrical issue with the alternator wire.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Just a fluke kind of
freak thing,
deal early in the race. It just kind of took you out of it in the beginning.
We lost 5 laps changing it and went back out and drove right back to the front, but I was 5 laps down, so it didn't count.
Dadgummit.
Yeah.
Well, I just want you to know I double-checked that wire you told me.
Well, I appreciate it.
Visually, I didn't touch it.
Yeah.
It looks pretty secure to me.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get a little bit more into Clay and his background here in a second. What'd you do with guns this week, Left Hand?
Well, you and I.
We went on a
tandem.
Pretty
we had a great road trip, didn't we?
Wild little road trip. Yeah, we went up to Knob Creek up in Kentucky.
Loaded up with Sam and Gabe.
Yep.
And we headed up to Knob Creek.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was. I wish we had more time.
I do too. I think it's where the word America was invented. At that
Carnicon?
At the Knob Creek machine gun shoot. America was invented there.
America.
It had to have been.
I think I saw a couple of tattoos.
I just felt it. Like the whole time I was there, every machine gun that got shot, I just felt like going America.
America. By God, America.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Well,
it was interesting, though. I had a good time, even though it was short.
Yeah.
I think we got a pretty good idea of basically the goings-on there, what they do. So next year, or they do it twice a year, right?
Yeah, spring and fall, I believe.
Spring, fall. So we'll try to get up to the next one and get a little more in-depth with it. Of course, we had a little trouble because of the TV series or whatever they film up there.
They've got a new show on CMT coming called Guntucky, and it's the owners of Knob Creek, and they kind of had first rights of a lot of the video footage. So they allowed us to film, but not really any of the shooting. And we had to do stuff in the background where no people were seen unless it was people that we were with. And
right.
It wasn't bad.
Tough.
They weren't jerks about it.
But we did get a little competition film in with our buddies from Nashville Armory.
Yeah.
Andrew
Sean.
And Sean shot in the submachine gun competition. And
it looked like they enjoyed it pretty well. I wanted to get out there and do it too.
Yeah. Well, we got to almost get out there with the camera and
yeah,
we got some good footage of it.
Definitely did. And we'd like to thank our sponsors this week.
ICE Training, ICEtraining.us.
We have All or Nothing Tattoo Company. That's allornothingtattoo.com, and their gun-friendly gear store, strangleholemerch.com.
Holder and Green Professional Real Estate Services, HG Press, 1-800-615-1840, extension 2222.
And we have us-elitegear.com. And if you enter the code TalkingLead at checkout, you'll get a pretty nice little discount there. So don't forget us-elitegear.com.
And they're having a nice Columbus Day sale, too, so check that out.
Yep.
And welcome to our newest sponsors, Clay Greenfield Race Team,
yep,
number 68, and Clutch Defense.
ClutchDefense.com.
And you guys are going to find out more about Clutch Defense today and what they're all about.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
So this week's Jackwagon of the Week, I may cry, because
this is like the number 2 people that's disappointed you, right?
Yeah, but Sarah Silverman, she was just, I kind of like some of her stuff.
Well, no, before that.
Who was the other one?
I didn't think Sarah Silverman. Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he didn't disappoint me as much as this one. This one is
it hit you hard.
This one hit me harder. This band was like my college memories.
Yeah, but are you surprised? This is another one I'm not surprised about.
It doesn't. I've always kind of ignored his politics because I love the music so much. But Eddie Vedder, the lead singer of Pearl Jam, oh, you crushed me, man. That was like one of my top 5 all-time favorite bands.
You got a snippet?
I don't have a snippet, but I've got the quote here. Basically, he came out with a video, and he made a couple of comments in there. He said, the fact that we're living in a country where 90% of the people want further gun laws, which, from all the real stats I've seen, that's not true.
No.
To maybe somehow put a dent in some of this insanity that's happening, and yet there's no further legislation taking place. It's very frustrating and upsetting. And he went on to say he almost wish bad things upon these people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that was kind of like, wow, that was the gut blow that got me. And I'm hoping...
Did he say almost, or did he say...
said almost. The quote was, I almost wish bad things upon these people.
Mm.
And that...
And then he went on to say after that he didn't need to do that because bad things were happening to these people anyway.
Right. Just because you're
which
a
is
gun
just
owner
as
and
bad.
you're programmed.
Yeah.
And I hope it's just ignorance and it's just a lack of education and experience with the firearms, because I really like Eddie Vedder and their music.
Well, you know what? It's a statement.
But,
he's just trying to make a statement.
He's exactly.
He's showing his ass.
But he is on the jackwagon train this week, and I'll cry later, and I'll get over it. But
what do you think about that, Clay? What do you think about Eddie Vedder? You know who the Eddie Vedder is?
I am old enough to hear the music on the oldies channel.
Clay is young, by the way.
Another gut blow.
For you guys that haven't seen our video, which will be posted with this, Clay, you're under 30, right?
You almost said he's 11.
Barely.
So you're 20-something.
Yeah, I just had my first 29th birthday this year.
Your first 29?
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
You are young. Oh, Pearl Jam on the oldies channel, man. Ouch.
It's kind of true, though.
You know, there's one thing he said,
Hey,
though.
they even have their own XM channel now, too, so that's how they're staying current with
They're
the
like
young
there
people
with
nowadays.
Rolling Stones now.
So you got to be
And the
around for,
Beatles.
a couple of decades before you get your own XM station.
Yeah, I think so. There was one thing he said, though. He said he was mad because there needs to be further gun control laws, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and yet there's no further legislation taking place. Well, that's because they haven't proposed anything good. I mean,
No.
Most pro-gun people...
Buy yourself a double-barrel shotgun and go fire 2 blasts is not good legislation.
Well, that's not legislation. That's just an idiot
But
talking.
that's what they're... I mean, that's the kind of stuff they're trying to propose. I mean, it's just ridiculous, ludicrous.
They're trying to propose, legislation where there's registration for people that went to the doctor and said, hey, I feel a little sad. Oh, you're adjudicated mentally defective. Well, no, that's not the kind of stuff we need. We need to come up with a system that can weed out those crazy people. But that's going to be so hard to do, and nobody's able to come up with anything. That's why there's no legislation.
Well,
They
it's
just
because
haven't
when
come
they
up with a
do
good
it,
one.
then they're going to have to bend on their thinking and their whatever. Let's not talk politics.
Anyways, that's our jackwagon of the week. Eddie Vedder, welcome to the jackwagon train.
I think we'll throw him on the honeypot.
The honeypot.
Yeah.
Honeypot's a good thing. That's what I was going to call our your honey
Honeypot's where you go
your honey holes, where you find secret stashes of stuff like ammo. Like this week will be the ammunition honey
At
hole.
clutchdefense.com. That's your honey.
That's your honey hole.
We've mentioned him. He's talked a little bit. Our guest is Clay
Greenfield, the 68 NASCAR race truck.
with
from
the I always forget Camping World.
the Camping
race
World
series.
Race
NASCAR
Series.
Camping World Truck Series.
Nice.
Now,
Yeah.
Clay, you're going to have to keep us straight on this because we'll admit it, we are not NASCAR guys. We know very
I
little.
never would have
about-
guessed.
I tried hard. When I was in college, I managed a GNC in a certain town here in Tennessee. And Darrell Waltrip used to come in there often. And I recognized him from TV, but I mean, he would say, oh, did you watch the race? I'm like, honestly, sir, I can't get into it.
Yeah.
And he tried every week. He'd come in, pick a race car, follow him through the whole race, and I could never make it through.
I used to work at a certain airport in a town in Nashville. Wait a minute. And we would taxi in, and we hangared Darrell Waltrip's airplane.
Yeah.
And the same thing. I mean, he would come in, and I'd ask him how the race went. Oh, did you see it? Did you check it out? Dude? I'm like, yeah, it was great. You did awesome. He's like, I crashed. I didn't make it 3 laps or something. I was like, oh, sorry.
I think you're dating yourself now if you talk to him when he was racing.
Yeah, I think everybody knows I'm an old
the
fart.
question here is that have you been to a race live in person?
No, I haven't.
No.
And everybody's told me you
there
got to
you
go to the lot.
You'll instantly get into it. You
That's
know,
what everybody's
when I was
told
a
me.
kid, and actually going to Talladega is sort of a special place to me because that was where I saw my first NASCAR race. I think I was about 8 years old, and at that time, baseball was the only thing in my world, baseball and hunting, actually, and that was sort of, what I thought about all the time. Went to Talladega, and my life changed that day.
Well, I'm going to make my first
It
one.
would have been a lot less expensive if I'd never gone there.
Yeah, this
Now,
Saturday.
Is Talladega, that's the one they call Redneck Mardi Gras, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's where I want to go.
Redneck followed by any adjective you can think of. That's
To go along with
That's my kind of place.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to experience this weekend. 'Cause
I know, I'm glad you're coming.
coming to your race, and you get me in the pits, right?
Exactly.
Sweet.
That just sounds dirty, but
Getting in the pits?
yeah, stinky.
Well, I'm not sticking my nose up his pits. So what can we expect being that close to the race? What does it mean when you're in the pits? I mean, are we right there with the crew? And
Yes, exactly. You'll be able to stand on the pit box if you like.
I don't know. What's the pit box?
The pit box is that's the big toolbox in front of the pit stall that the crew chief sits on top of. And
Okay, so I just kind of elbow him out of the way, say, "Move, son. That's my truck."
he'll elbow back. He just walked in. You can ask him.
He'll punch me in the nose, won't he?
All Clay's fans are going to be listening to this going, why the hell did you go on these guys' show? They don't know anything.
Because that's the premise of our show is newbies. You know, we're new, fairly new to the gun world. And, our fans follow us along on our adventures learning more about firearms and the firearms industry. And that would be perfect for you to launch kind of a thing, too. And we can go along on the journey also as newbies to the NASCAR world.
Talking rubber? No,
Talking
that would
clutch.
not go good.
Yeah.
Talking clutch. Kind of clutch defense, talking clutch.
Yeah. How about talking the number 68 clutch?
There you go. We're just going to.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
It won't be a NASCAR education. It'll be a number 68 education.
Yeah.
Just
But
Clay
you,
Greenfield.
that's one of there are a lot of things, just like anyone new to, say, football, for instance. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on in football that, someone that's never seen a football game before would be totally confused.
Sure.
And the same thing in NASCAR. So there's a lot of unique rules and rules that change based on different situations and stuff like that. So
Right.
it's a lot for new people to take in.
Well, luckily Barry's going to be there next to me. Barry's our graphic guy, not only for the Talking Lead sleds, but also for Clay Greenfield's 68 car and people on the video.
That is if we get him away from
Or
the party
truck.
in the infield, in the campground.
Does he like to do this? Does he like to party a little bit?
I can imagine so.
I don't know. He's pretty into the racing, so I imagine he won't miss the dropping of the flag. Is that what they call it?
Exactly.
Dang, man, look at that. I guess
Waving the green, there's several different terms, but
waving. He
Yeah.
mentioned that earlier today. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So,
Now, you're fairly young.
but
How
he said
long-
he's gonna school me on all that.
How long have you been doing it?
I have been racing since I was 12 years old.
Really?
So if my math is correct, that's about 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Like, did
That's
you
right.
start off? And
I started off in go-karts at Clarksville Speedway,
Okay.
and it was just sort of actually the whole catastrophe that started the situation I'm in. It was my neighbor got a go-kart when I was a kid, and he let me ride it, and I fell in love with it, and I had to get a go-kart, and then I was out
You were hooked.
in my parents' yard and actually wore out. I made my own little racetrack in the yard, wore out the grass. My mom would get so mad, it's ridiculous. And
If your dad liked it, he didn't have to mow.
yeah, exactly. But figured out I was pretty good at that, and so I found out about a go-kart class at Clarksville Speedway, and I went and won my second race,
nice.
and we did really well, won the championship the first year. I came in late in the season. There was only like 3, maybe 4 races left, and the following year won the championship, and then went to Legends Cars and had a really big year. That one year I won 53 out of 88
What's
races.
Legends cars?
That is a little cars run on, I say little, they're about half size of what a normal car is. They race on Yamaha motorcycle engines.
Okay.
And they're based off...
Kind of got the NASCAR look to them.
No, they look like... actually, what it's patterned after is the first race cars that were ever in NASCAR, like your 34 Fords and,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay,
sedans
yeah.
and coupes. And
Cool.
It's
Little throwback.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And they're really good training because they're pretty hard to drive because they're so light and they run on a really hard tire. It teaches you throttle
Is that a
management.
dirt track that you race those on, or is that
You can.
paved?
They do race
They
those
do
on
both?
dirt, but I raced on asphalt, with the exception of one race. I raced on dirt, which I won, by the way.
The one dirt race.
Winning is what gets you. Isn't it?
Until this year, I had my second dirt race. I didn't win that one.
No, that stinks.
That's kind of what gets you hooked, though. It is the winning.
Exactly.
Makes you want to come back for more.
So
Maybe you should have lost more when you were younger.
how did you?
I would probably be a lot better off if I did.
How did you work your way up into the NASCAR truck racing?
Well, I raced late models and was pretty successful at that. And then so the next step was obviously to get into NASCAR. And actually, my crew chief just walked in. Danny Gill gave me he owned a team at the time, and he gave me my first opportunity to race at Martinsville in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and
Nice.
sort of escalated from there. And here we are.
How long have you been doing the NASCAR?
This will be my 4th year in the Camping World Truck Series, but I don't get to race every race. Just somewhere between 5 to 8 races is about what I've raced each year.
Now, are there other circuits that you race in outside of the NASCAR?
I've raced one nationwide race, but other than that, since I've been racing trucks, I put all my time and effort into the truck series. So I would love to be able to race other series, but just haven't had the opportunity.
As far as guns go, how did you originally get into firearms?
Aside from when we were selling crack when I was...
Okay. That's the one that that's the after show.
So you don't want me to tell that? You don't want me to tell that story when my grandmother gave me the gun?
You must come from an affluent neighborhood if they're selling crack.
Yeah.
No, amphetamines.
Actually, my first experience with guns was my dad took me hunting when I was a kid, and of course I love that, just being in the outdoors. And the first gun I ever shot was a 410, and when I was a little kid, they'd take me squirrel hunting and stuff like that. We'd use a 410, and then the first gun that was actually mine was a Winchester 20 gauge.
Do you still have that?
Yes, I do.
Pump action?
Say yes.
Yes. you pull the trigger and it shoots. Yeah.
It might be semi-auto. Do you remember your first kill?
Yes, I do. It was a squirrel.
A squirrel?
Yeah. And actually, we were sitting on a log, my dad and I was really little, and the squirrel was off to the left, and I had to he didn't see it, and I did, and I turned the gun and pointed it with the barrel, crossing right across his chest, and he sort of freaked out and shot, and that was my first kill.
I'm sure as soon as that happened, he taught you the golden rules of gun safety.
Oh, he already did, and
after he backhanded you,
and I knew he was safe. He just didn't know he was safe.
When it comes to pop culture, and I know you're a busy guy, and I've seen your work ethic. I mean, you're constantly in here working on this, and you've also got another company that you run.
Yes, Asphalt Company in Clarksville.
Asphalt Company. And I don't think we mentioned you're a Clarksville boy, so
yeah,
hometown, local. When it comes to pop
with the race shop in Murfreesboro, don't ask me how that happened.
I was wondering the same thing because he said you raced out of Clarksville. He said we're going to meet in Murfreesboro. I was like, wait a minute. It's like an hour and a half.
Murfreesboro. Yeah. Where's he from?
My manager does it on the Globe.
He's like, there's a good deal down here. Yeah. Let's get it. In pop culture related to guns, what's your go-to, whether it's a book or a movie or a song?
Video
it's kind of your go-to release.
Let me date myself a little bit here.
Did you say release? Not that kind of movie.
Since you two have been dating yourself, I'll go ahead and date myself. Actually, the first movie I ever went to in a theater was Turner and Hooch.
Nice.
So I'm going to go back to that one.
Nice.
I remember that. That's a good one.
That was a good
big
movie.
Slobbery dog.
Tom Hanks.
Which ties into the rescue ranch that we're supporting at Talladega this weekend.
That's right. The Rescue Ranch out of Statesville, North Carolina.
It's an affiliate of the Ryan Newman Foundation. They do all kinds of good things to help out dogs and all types of animals.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a nice little piece that ESPN released not too long ago. It kind of gives a little high-level deal on that. And we've got a little charity function coming up in February that we're going to be telling everybody more about too. So, and you're a dog guy yourself, right?
Absolutely. I have a black lab that my purpose in life is to keep him happy. he pretty much runs the show.
I gotta ask, has he ever been in the car?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, dude, you gotta let him ride shotgun with you.
Yeah, it's a little too loud and hot for him. He's one of those. He acts like he's a tough guy. He pretends to be a guard dog, but he's a wuss.
He cowers.
Watch this NASCAR knowledge. Do they make a Hans device for a dog?
I haven't seen one.
I got one out there.
But that is impressive. You knew what Hans was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see that in the movie?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
No,
Did they show that in Talladega Nights? Is that?
I think that's what it was. No, I used to listen to Bubba the Love Sponge. Have you ever heard of him?
I have.
He's a big racer, and they talked about it. I don't know what it does, but I just know it's something.
It keeps your head attached when you have a wreck.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Keeps everything tightly together on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that what that big little rail cage is on your seat right there?
No, I don't have a Hans device here. That is actually just part of the seat that keeps your head moving from side to side. The Hans device mainly keeps you from going forward with your head.
And wasn't that kind of mandatory after the Dale Earnhardt thing?
Yes, that's actually when it became mandatory. That technology was available before then, but that was sort of, the sport was different before Dale's accident, because it sort of, everybody had the tough guy attitude that, I'm a man, this can't happen to me.
Yeah, kind of like people who drive around and say, I don't need to wear a seatbelt. I've survived a bunch of wrecks because I didn't have my seatbelt on.
Yeah, exactly. And then after Dale's accident...
I have no idea what he's talking about.
After Dale's accident, first of all, NASCAR stepped in and they made all kinds of safety, just like the seats that we have now. That was a ton of it's sad that it took that to accident like Dale's to happen, but there's no telling how many lives that Dale has saved since then by that happening, just due to the the safety improvements that have been made.
Yeah, because I know I've seen a lot of those wrecks just on ESPN highlights, and they're insane. I mean, they're in a regular car. There's no way anybody would ever.
Oh no, not at all.
You know what I watched this weekend?
What's that?
Or actually, it was just a couple days ago. Was this weekend? Wasn't it? What's that new race movie that's out with?
Driven? No, not Driven.
Rush. Yeah.
I haven't got to see it yet, but I really like. Obviously, I've been pretty much around the clock working on.
It was a good movie,
pieces.
And then I did some Google searching on the two racers. That's a good story. I enjoyed it.
It was based on a true story, right?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, the Indy 500, the Indy cars.
Now those guys
are cool.
nuts.
Those cars
guys
cool.
are going twice as fast as NASCAR, right?
They're going about 20-30 miles an hour faster.
Oh, I thought it was a
but
lot
when you're
Those
already
things are like go-karts.
yeah, when you're already going 220-30 miles an hour is a pretty big difference.
Yeah, and you there's no protection above you. I bet that's kind of freaky.
Yeah, I've never driven one of those. I mean, I would like to, but obviously looks
It'd be hard to get
a
our
lot of
logo
fun.
on one of those cars.
Yeah, it'd be tiny.
Couldn't get it as big, that's for sure.
Yeah, no.
Stick with the truck. We like the truck.
Yeah.
I think you could probably get it bigger on a truck than you would a NASCAR car.
With that bed
Except for the
back there.
hood.
See, I did that just to help y'all out.
That's right. Exactly.
You're gracious.
As far as guns you've owned in the past, is there one out there that there's a little bitty part of you that's kind of embarrassed to say, yeah, I own that gun?
No, I really don't. Other than the BB gun and a little wooden click gun I had as a kid that killed all kinds of bad guys. But
yeah.
Other than that, that's really the only one I can think of.
BB guns are the exception to the rule. You never be ashamed to have owned a BB gun.
Unless if you carry one as an adult.
If that's your truck gun.
Yeah, but my friends and I helped control the bird population when we were kids with our BB guns.
Didn't we all?
Oh,
squirrels.
You know what?
Yeah. We never got a squirrel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you must have had to be a good shot to, had to be in close range.
No, I had this powerful. You pump that sucker up.
One of the ones you can pump
80 or 90
unlimited amounts.
times. Yeah.
I just
Popeye forearms.
That just reminded me of something I did when I first got in college. Carry a BB gun in my car for self-defense, more as a show thing. I know it's stupid, but I was 19 years old.
Was that before they had the campus gun laws?
yeah. But it looked like a pistol. It looked like a little 1911, but yeah.
It was like one of those CO2?
Yeah, it was more just...
Those things are powerful.
Let me tell you a little story. My great-grandfather, there was someone trying to rob he owned a trucking company, and he had on a sweat jacket, and he had a little nubby finger, and he just stuck his finger in the pocket of a sweat jacket and acted like
little nubby finger.
Yeah,
was it a hunting accident? Is that why he's got a nubby finger?
I don't remember the story on what happened, but anyway, the guy didn't stick around to see if it was real or not. So it worked.
Would you need a CCNF to legally carry that around? Concealed carry nubby finger?
Nubby finger. You probably will one day. They'll make that illegal too. and we know you've told me this, that you're relatively new, inexperienced in the firearm industry, but you've probably thought about it. What is the next gun that you would like to own, whether it be just for collection or for personal use? A
friend of mine has one of the big Colt gangster type guns, and I really had a good time shooting that.
45 maybe?
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
It. There we go.
45?
Like 1911, that's what that would be.
I think that's what is that a gangster gun? Am I right there? One of those it tries to jump out of your hand when you shoot.
Cartel. Yeah, that would be a 1911. Yeah.
Mexican cartels.
And that's the one, as you get more into it, especially with clutch defense, you'll see that there's this big rivalry between polymer guns like Glocks and XDs and Smith & Wesson MPs and 1911s, and there's this.
Can I change my answer, because I think we're going to have an affiliation with Glock at clutch defense?
Oh, okay. Well then,
no,
you're stuck.
No, you're stuck.
It's not necessarily between the companies. It's just people who, both of them have valid.
That
points.
Was a good answer.
There's 1911s that have been in service since
1911s have been around for over 100 years.
Yeah.
So that's their claim to fame.
And Glocks are relatively new, and they function, and they hardly ever have malfunctions. And we like both of them. We're just gun guys. We
like everything.
Yeah. If it fires, we like it.
Except
for my Morrison
380. So I've decided to start a new project.
What's that?
I want to build an AR from scratch.
And wait. let me get my psychic abilities out. I bet you're going to do a 300 blackout.
Bingo!
Not that you've been talking about it for months.
I know it. I kept going back and forth on which 300 I wanted, and then I found one that I thought I wanted, and I was like, you know what? I really want to build one. I've started the quest for accumulating the parts. And I've got the lower parts kit. I've got the buttstock and buffer assembly. Got my grip that I'm going to use, my grips, my handguard. I may change it out. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to see. I just ordered it because it looked really cool. I don't know if it's going to be long enough or not for what I need. And so I need, what I'm still in search of is the upper, basically, I need a barrel. I need the upper receiver, the BCG bolt carrier group, charging handle, and the springs and whatnot for the upper, and the gas block. And what else I mean, there's probably a whole lot more I need. I do have a professional assisting me with this build. So
Nice.
Sean.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better about my long-term relationship with Talking Lead.
Sean has agreed to guide me in this venture.
Okay.
And then also got our buddy Jim Irwin.
Oh, gotcha.
Is offering his advice as well, and a couple other people. So
Awesome.
it should be a good project. I'm planning on filming it from start to finish.
YouTube.
Gonna boob tube it or YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's YouTube.
I think everybody knows what I mean. So,
I hope so.
Look for that.
There again, we go back into the reference about the Pearl Jam deal.
yeah, exactly.
He's perfect for this show.
It all ties in. So that's an upcoming project that we have for the Talking Lead show.
Talking about new stuff, we got a little new segment here, a little quickie. We're going to start throwing out every week or so whenever we have him pop in. It's our Man on the Street. So here is our first Man on the Street interview.
Talking Lead, Man on the Street.
Welcome to Talking Leads, straight shooting on the street. I'm Leadhead Jerome at the auto parts store. I'm with William. William, what does 2 mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's a fundamental right. The way I look at it is like this. Humans designed weapons in order to do a multitude of things. None of them outwardly hostile in nature. Hunting, defense, and it's our right to pretty much protect ourselves under any circumstances against all threats, foreign and domestic. It's a right that should not be infringed. Times have changed, but at the same time, government also changes. It changes both for the better and for the worse from time to time. Things aren't the way they used to be. Our threats are a lot more dangerous than they used to be. They're a lot more... It takes a lot less to do a lot more these days than it used to.
How did you get started with guns?
I always had an obsession with anything that was mechanical. And it boiled down to, okay, how does this work? Okay, you watch TV shows, you watch movies, naturally it's there. So it's like, okay, how does this work? How does this work? You got your old cowboy and Indians games when you're a kid, and then both of my grandfathers were ex-military. One Navy, one Army. Both Korea. And when they retired, moved out to the woods. And out there, everyone's got a shotgun or a bolt-action hunting rifle of some sort. And we'd go out there and just shoot targets and things of that nature, and I just never let go of it.
Do you have any military or law enforcement experience?
I worked for Blackwater for 3.5 years.
Blackwater. Okay. That says a little bit.
Yeah, I was a merc. Yeah, they used to tell us it's like anytime we'd get into an airport terminal, all the servicemen would look at us funny and say, I know who you are. You're wearing a Hawaiian shirt and you're going past security. It's like, yeah, pay no attention.
Okay. When it comes to pop culture, movies, comic books, video games, what do you do to get your gun fit?
Anything realistic, to a degree. I mean, of course, everything has its own plot, but I love movies that are historically based. Foreign films are really good too because they have a different sense of what a firearm is to them as opposed to what the Americans' idea of it is. They're a lot more open and a lot more accepting of pretty much anything. I mean, even in England, hence all the James Bond films that came out and still continue to come out. I like movies like, Boondock Saints, and because they use a variety of things in there. And then there's movies I like to watch because I know there's a certain piece or two that a main character uses that I tend to keep in my collection. Like, for instance, the movie Snatch, where the big guy's got the 50 Action Express Desert Eagle, and he's, putting holes in the wall.
Where mine says Desert Eagle .50 on the side, and yours says replica.
Exactly.
Yeah, great movie.
That's what made me buy one. And it is a hand cannon. It is a lovely weapon. Not all that good for carry conceal, obviously, because it's huge, but it is a fun thing to have.
All right. Well, I thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. So thanks to
Can we say his name?
Listener Jerome, yeah.
Jerome. Yeah.
Thanks to Jerome for
where's Jerome out of? Do we know?
Georgia.
He's out of Georgia?
He's out of Georgia.
That was very creative, and we appreciate that,
He was one of
Jerome.
our original lead heads. One of the first that popped up on Facebook.
That's right. And he always sends us some good content. If you check our Facebook page, he's always posting great links on there and great information.
I actually think
he's a true dedicated lead head.
Didn't he win the 22 Plinkster trivia? Yes, because he got the Tic Tacs, and he sent us a picture of him. He ate all the Tic Tacs.
Speaking of winners,
yes,
we need to announce the Rob Pincus Put Me Over 20,000 Facebook page contest.
We'll do that at the end of the show.
Announce the winner?
Yeah.
So that's coming up toward the end of the show. We'll make that announcement.
This is the most organized radio show I've ever been a part of.
It is.
Trust me.
Well, let me back up. This
when
is
we edit it.
It sounds beautiful.
The second most organized radio show I've been a part of. You're topped by the guy that called me on a cell phone, and his cell phone died during the interview. So the interview went dead there.
That was just the end of it.
That was the end of it.
That was awesome.
About 45 minutes later, I got a text. Sorry, my phone died. I think we got enough.
Well, hopefully, when Zeke gets home, or I get whoever's going to edit this, it actually recorded. So. That's always our worst nightmare.
Yeah,
there's nothing here.
Our first big show that we had. Do you ever watch any of the gun YouTube channels?
I haven't yet.
Okay, well, Hickok 45 is probably the biggest, and Hickok 45 came on the show, and we had all this nice setup. You know, the expensive mics, mixing board.
We were in the radio station.
We were all excited to have him on the show. He was our first guest, and it was a big guest to have. I forgot to switch the computer input to come from this. So the entire thing was recorded on that itty-bitty microphone.
Sounded like we were recording it with our phone.
Yeah, it sounded like we were in a cave.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad.
Embarrassing.
So, we haven't done one where we didn't record the show. We did one where we missed about 15 minutes and had to go back and start over. But we haven't missed a whole show thinking it was recorded.
Knock on wood.
God. So with the NASCAR racing and the NASCAR Truck Series, have you ever had any of the big wrecks that everybody seems to watch the races to see?
It happens from time to time.
Pretty intense?
You personally?
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that's inevitable. And that is actually when you go to any sort of speaking engagement or anytime you address race fans, especially ones that are new to the sport, 3 questions you get the most. Have you ever wrecked? How fast does it go? And what do you have to do when you go to the bathroom?
Oh, wow. I never thought of that one.
Those are the 3 questions you get. But, I've had a couple bad ones over my days.
What's your most memorable?
Most memorable was
Well, if it was that bad, he probably doesn't remember it.
Actually, I do.
They record all of them.
Yeah, exactly. I have video evidence to prove it.
Is it like football games where after the game your teammates get in the room and they film it and they replay the bad hit and say, "Oh, look at that!" You're sitting there going, "Come on, dude."
Actually, it is something like that. But my response, and I wasn't on top of my game, but usually when somebody asks me if I ever wrecked, my first response is, "You've never YouTubed me, have you?"
So there we go. We just YouTube it, and
which actually, the worst wreck I've ever had was at Bristol, and that was actually in a late model. It's the first time late models went to, and going back to what we talked about earlier with the safety innovations since Dale Earnhardt's accident, they came up with what's called the safer barrier, which is basically it's about 2 feet wide, and it's instead of the car or truck just hitting the concrete, it's like a metal rail that has sort of, I'm going to use the word styrofoam. It's not exactly styrofoam, but just for explanation purposes, that's what I'm going to say. That the wall actually moves. It's called a safer barrier. Sure. Also, it's mislabeled a lot of times as a soft wall. That's what people like to call it, but there's nothing soft about it. But it's definitely a lot better than crashing the concrete. But anyway, this is back before the safer barrier.
So it's got a little give to it.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference when you hit it versus hitting concrete. But at Bristol, I was running third on the last lap, blew the right front tire, hit the wall, and if we got over looking close to if I was inside the truck, the steering wheel was right on top of you. You have to take the steering wheel on and off to get out of the truck. This wreck was so bad, the steering wheel was way over to my right. I didn't even have to take it off to get out. I hit with the right front. It bent the frame on the left rear.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That was one of the first questions I asked.
And my neck still hurts.
Wow.
It's like, hey, somebody stole your steering wheel. You're like, it's in the windshield, dumbass.
Well, let's just go with those 3 questions. How fast do you go?
At Talladega, let me back up to Daytona, which I was fastest in practice. That lap was 189 miles per hour. So we're going to be,
in a truck.
dancing around 190.
In a friggin' truck. That's amazing. And, of course, my favorite question I've heard so far, how do you go to the bathroom?
Well, what most people don't realize is it's so hot inside the trucks. It's average of 130 degrees plus inside the trucks, plus we're wearing the fire suit, which is basically like wearing winter coveralls. And you sweat, so, you can lose 10 to 15 pounds during a race. I have to start hydrating like 3 days before the race.
Wow.
And
plus, I'm sure that's the last thing on your mind.
Exactly. Well, every now and then it'll come up where you think, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. But one time at a race in St. Louis, it was so hot, and I'd been, I just chug water and Pedialyte and Gatorade, whatever, before the race. We're getting in right after national anthem. I was thinking, man, I got to pee.
Yeah.
And this was actually in July, and for whatever reason, it is so freaking hot in St. Louis, but. We were supposed to race at night on a Friday night. Well, there's massive power outage in the area, and the race had to be postponed till 12 o'clock the next day.
Oh, wow.
And it's like an asphalt jungle out there, and just all the heat radiates in that place. But strapped in, I was thinking, man, there's no way I'm going to make it through this race without having to go to the bathroom. And 15 minutes later, I didn't think about it anymore. And then after the race, I'm just like so hot and just chugging water, Gatorade right and left there, and it was like 7 hours later before I ever went to the bathroom.
You had to go.
So it went from I'm not going to be able to hold it.
That's probably the top question asked of race car, NASCAR drivers, and astronauts.
You have another venture going on too called ClutchDefense.com, and that's kind of one of the ways we got connected with our firearms.
Well, it's not
show
ClutchDefense.com. It's just Clutch Defense, right?
Yes, but the website.
And the website is Clutch Defense.
That we would really, really like people to go to is ClutchDefense.com.
The honey hole?
Exactly, the honey hole.
What exactly is that? Or should we let our guest phone caller give us a little?
Let's let our expert analysis, Lloyd Weidman, tell us about that.
All right, Lloyd,
welcome to the show.
Dear Lord, I apologize and be with Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here, Clay and company. Clutch Defense is kind of a master child that was born from doing a lot of other things well, but not well enough to be a millionaire. So we concocted a new plan, and I suckered Clay to get involved with it on the NASCAR side. And what we're doing actually is working a disaster preparedness store in a local community in mid-Missouri, about an hour west of St. Louis, kind of strategically located off of Interstate 70 between Columbia, where the University of Mizzou is at, and in the city of St. Louis. And this store will focus mostly on camping, hunting, disaster preparedness, and some tactical different genres of people that we feel that could utilize the resources, the knowledge, and the products that we want to sell. The concept was born from working with and in NASCAR for the last, going on 14 years myself on the marketing side. I've been the marketing director of a Sprint Cup team, and lo and behold, that's how I got to meet Clay, and we've been really good friends. And through this, also met another gentleman who's a Green Beret that has brought us into the fold in their community, and he was showing some neat things from ammunition, where we can locate the hard-to-get stuff when the market goes dry. And he shared a lot of circles of influence. And through that, we got introduced into the community. I approached Clay, and I said, here's the plan. Here's what we got going on. There's a lot of active shooters out there and some recreational shooters that just can't get it, any ammo. And when they do, it's so doggone expensive, no one can afford it. It's the price of a truck.
Oh, yeah.
So, that was it. It was kind of born out of necessity to try to help the local community get things at a reasonable cost so that they can actually take care of their families versus trying to sell their firstborn into slavery so that they could raise the money to feed the family.
Now, is y'all's website is still under construction, right?
As of time we go on the air, it should be up and running.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say I do that on the side if y'all need a little help with it. So.
Yeah, we've been building it. We should be live beta tonight. I mean, we do work it. We have been working it on the backside. It's credit card processors have a tendency right now to lean away from anything they consider high risk, which
Right.
is what they're classifying ammunition sales as.
Right.
So we are going to hammer them with sales. We just scored a really sweet brand new 223 55 grain deal that will be a very reasonable cost even when the market goes back up. It's all American made. We've got some frange ammo. We've got new SS-109 actually put into a 223 casing. So it's a.
Is that going to be brass?
I'm sorry?
Is that going to be brass?
Yeah, it'll be brass, and
Very
it's
nice.
not Lake City.
Nice.
Good. You going to be getting into the 300 blackout?
I have a cousin up here that's up in Lincoln County, Missouri, working with the sheriff's department. He's got a blackout, and I was basically told that if I didn't carry the ammo, I may wind up in a field confessing to crimes I'd never committed.
Good for him.
Yes.
Good for him. Attaboy. So you're going to be my go-to for that.
Hopefully, he's a lot of other people's go-to for that stuff too.
But I'm first in line. I'm calling dibs.
So yeah, that's one thing. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to kind of wrap up with the ammo stuff, so go ahead. What were you going to say, one thing?
Well, we've been looking and watching the gun shops around here, the gun shows. And the folks that go to these, we've been witness to people wanting to buy ammo, but they're limited to one or two boxes. I've never understood that philosophy. If you've got it to sell and the person's there ready to make the purchase, hook a brother up. So
Yep.
when we do these shows, we'll do them there through the Nashville area. If we're in your backyard, we'll definitely invite you out. But
Sure.
if we bring buckets or truckloads full, if you've got the coin, you can walk with it. You know?
Nice.
But, we're going to do our best to beat everybody in the market. You know, whether it's a few pennies or a few dimes, still make it a win-win for everybody.
That's exciting. Now you guys are going to do the online thing too, where people can order it online from all over the United States, right? We're legal, obviously.
Correct. We're legal.
Yeah.
And that's the trick of the trade there, is knowing which communities allow you to ship ammo to, which ones will allow you to move body armor. You know, how do you verify who's 18, who's not a felon, all that fun stuff. But that's what the attorneys are for. They'll figure it out.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right. And I know you guys will get that all ironed out too. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. Clutch Defense, clutchdefense.com.
Yep. Could end up being our new ammunition honey hole.
It could be. Could be.
Well,
We can definitely get you guys lots of exposure.
Yeah, I don't know if I should tip the hand or not, but on our 223 and our 556, we are first in line for $2 million a month in production, all brand new.
Uh-oh.
So if
Awesome.
if this grows where it's at, we're set.
That's
and then
about-
our 9 mil and our
That's
Go
about. I was going to say that's about how much we shoot a month. about 2 million rounds. So that's perfect.
So that's ours.
Perfect for us.
Can we lay claim to it?
eat it like Wheaties. We got with that. We're going to deal with some import too. We found some really cool stuff coming back that's all NATO specs that is surplus, and we're getting this a very reasonable cost, even imported. And we're doing that through a third party that can do it legally. And so there'll be a lot of opportunities for the folks on a very tight budget, as well as those that want the high end, leadless type Liberty ammo type stuff. So we'll have a little bit for everybody.
Are there measures in place for when you go out and you do get that surplus ammo from these other countries to test for the sabotage crap?
Yes, we do. We actually, when it comes to the port of import, we can do a full inspection, and we can random pull up to 10,000 rounds per. It comes over in I call it big cases, but essentially you can pull those out and randomly shoot, and you can see what the fail rate is, and if it's acceptable, you're taking averages. You might get to 10,000 that are really good, or you might get to 10,000 that are all duds. But there's a little bit of checks and balances there. There's always the risk, but that's what the third party's for. We just mitigate our risk when we purchase from the third party based off of what works or what doesn't. They're the ones that ultimately are taking the risk.
Well, we appreciate. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if you're kicking us off already. I could talk for an hour nonstop.
Oh, if you could talk about ammo nonstop for an hour, we go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, we've been watching. One of the heads of the well, I can't really say who he was, but let's just say he was a person of significant influence within the Special Forces community, was telling us to kind of keep an eye on our local communities and look for things, very subtle changes, and that would be an indicator that things were ramping up. And it was part of the reason why my wife and I moved back from North Carolina back to Missouri, where family's at. And granted, the NSA is listening, so I'll just spill the beans everywhere. When we came across the river, we were passing the airport where the old Air National Guard used to be, and we noticed a ramp up of, there's like 75 brand new fully armored Hummers with all the ammo crates outside. Probably 2 or 3 million rounds of 50 cal sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, that's not normal.
The red flag.
We got out here to our little community of 7,000 people, and I noticed there was several new Hummers, and then you get these armored transports, and then there's 2, and that turned to 3, and 3 became 6, and now we're like, well, those are only used for urban patrols. Why would they have those in our little community? That's an engineering, so we're starting to see, like, almost as if they're preparing for something. I don't know if it's a civil uprising or if it's some other, something else. I don't know. I just hope that, we win.
As far as ammo goes, are you seeing more? Are y'all having issues getting 22? Because I know that's one thing that we see around here.
9 and 22.
Tough to get. Are y'all seeing that you're going to have an issue getting 22 and 9?
Yes and no. The 9, we're going to have more accessibility than we'll do the 22. And we've reached out to several manufacturers here, and they're just so overloaded. They're at 100% capacity, and some of them have waiting lists over 18 months. So it's, my mentor was on the board at Freedom Group, and he tried to help us out a little bit, but I mean, there's only so much he could do, and it's near impossible. What I'm seeing is almost like the stocks, and you would almost think maybe Koch brothers or somebody has their fingers are Goldman Sachs, because it's like expands in one area and contracts in another, and it's whoever's there the money is doing a mighty fine job.
Yeah. Now, are you guys planning being at SHOT Show in January?
Maybe as spectators. I mean, we don't see a need for us to be there with a booth or a table. It's just the nature of the business. We're going to be going right to the consumers.
Right.
I think we'd rather put the hotel bill in our pocket and use that to go to Daytona instead and watch Clay win.
There you go.
Or you could take that money and go to the blackjack table and put all of it on red, and then either double up or just go home.
I say just put it on Clay. He'll win at Daytona.
Clay. On a serious note, Daytona and Talladega, when Vegas puts the
odds,
puts that out, I think they do it on Saturday morning for the Truck Series. I can make somebody some money this weekend.
Nice.
But because I don't know what they are, but I assume they're gonna be pretty great.
Nice. Yes.
Well, let me ask you guys this. You kind of gave me a few questions there. I mean, I've been listening to some of your shows there on YouTube and stuff. Great job. You guys are hilarious. I mean,
appreciate it, man.
Right.
Thanks, man.
What are you seeing? What are you hearing from other folks? I mean,
he's clearly not in the studio in the shop right now.
Yeah, it's funny because that's what our show topic was going to be tonight, is kind of finding little ammo honey holes. And around here, everything's coming back. In the Nashville area, you'll still see some places that are slim on 9. A lot of people that just
Walmart
don't have 22.
still has people lining up an hour before the truck gets there to buy the ammo. I don't know what they're thinking. The ammo is back. It's out there. If you go to like Academy, they're wall to wall with everything except the 22 and the 9 right now, and you can get all you want, and there's no limit, on it. And I'm sure, was it Bass? We got Bass around here.
Bass Pro
is the same way, and most of your gun shops, the Nashville Armories, the On Targets. I've not had any problem getting ammo at those places either.
And what's funny is there's even little, talking about honey holes, there's little places in Tennessee that are like little gas stations in rural areas where you can stop in and they've got a shelf full of ammo. And I've seen a couple that I'm not going to say where, because
you're not going to give away
they'll be
your
sold out tomorrow.
Your honey hole.
Or they have 9 and they have 22 just because people don't realize they sell ammo. But a lot of these places that are gas stations but also call themselves bait shops, I'll give a little hint there. Maybe you can find some stuff there.
Yeah. Well, co-op.
But if you don't want to go through all that trouble of riding around looking for bait shops, you can just go to ClutchDefense.com.
That's right.
Yeah, ClutchDefense.com.
ClutchDefense.com will take care of everything you guys need. You don't even have to waste your gas, right?
Exactly.
We
There you go.
need to set up a little code with you guys to where they type in Talking Lead at the end, and
Yeah, you guys give them a hat or a little discount or something.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Maybe tie it into Clay's 68 truck there and do a little Talking Lead 68,
There you
something
go.
like that, and maybe put a code
Perfect.
together. That'd be nice. And we're always open for feedback too. I mean, we're young, we're starting out. We can't just populate the earth with a bunch of fun stuff on the site. We're being a little strategic, but if folks want something specifically, we'll put the hounds under the scent and see if we can't find something for them.
Well, I think we can definitely help you out with that, with our listenership and followers.
push you out
We
there.
can
a little
help.
bit.
We can definitely help get you out there. No problem.
Not as much as Clay winning this weekend, but
Yeah, not as much as Clay winning, but that's going to be kind of go hand in hand. The two of those.
Yeah, they both complement each other.
That's right.
So, see, now I'm in a non-negotiable situation. I just have to win. There's
well, like
no,
we talked earlier,
no way out of it.
For the exposure, you either need to win or wreck.
And I did that last year, so we don't like to do that.
Right, so we won't wreck. But then he had another one. He's going to have it on his uniform. He can get in a fight.
Yeah, so if I get in a fight with anybody,
If he
that'll
gets
just
in a
blow the
fight,
exposure
yeah.
through the roof.
If you won and then crashed your car at the end into somebody else and then got out.
Yeah, but I still got to pay for my car.
If he crashes the car, he needs to get out.
What if I crash somebody else? Then they come looking for trouble.
Okay, yeah, pick a fight.
But
Yeah.
you need to get out and start running around screaming, "I'm on fire!"
You gotta strip down to your undies.
Yeah, yeah. And what I need to do before that is write clutch defense and Talking Lead with a Sharpie on my back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do this.
Talking Lead boxers.
We got to do this we got to do some fake commercials with him.
running around. I'm on fire.
No, just like Ricky Bobby did. Those. Hi, I'm Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
And
if you don't
this
listen to
stuff
Talking
tastes
Lead,
like
then you.
Exactly.
Well, that will happen tonight.
Yes. Perfect.
We'll bleep it in the video.
We could really hook that kind of a marketing push into the NASCAR fan base. I mean, you think about it, NASCAR's got a total base of just a little over 75 million, which is about 1/3 of the U.S. adult population. Even if we got 10% of that following it, I mean, we could probably sell some Clay Greenfield boxer shorts, Talking Lead. Just
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Talking Lead needs to be the front for obvious reasons, and then Clutch Defense in the back for other obvious reasons.
Clutch.
Oh,
we're on a roll here. T-shirts. I see T-shirts.
Yep, definitely.
The train's already off the track, rolling down the hill and on fire by now.
You may end up having to change your number to 69.
I got a tweet with someone begging me to do that just the other day, actually.
That's awesome.
By the way, my Twitter at Clay Greenfield. Feel free to follow me.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I just followed you about 10 seconds ago.
Appreciate it.
So.
Is anybody allowed to use 69? Is NASCAR just not?
Yeah, I was actually a team had originally hired me to drive a 69 truck this year, and the deal kind of came apart at the last minute.
Okay. I would
But
just think as PC correct as NASCAR tries to be, they would.
But of course, it's
Band
just
69.
because it's a nice-looking number for no other reason that we're asking at all.
It has a lot of semblance. People were born in 69.
It's very, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't either.
It's a good marketing piece because if you had to pull a Tony Stewart and end up upside down on the track.
Yeah,
That's true. That's a good point.
I was always told to stay away from those numbers that look the same upside down as
they do upside right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or you could go with like 11. And then it's the same all directions.
There you go.
88.
88.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, Lloyd, we appreciate you calling in, man. We'll definitely check out Clutch Defense, clutchdefense.com.
And check them out at along with the Talking Lead at the Talladega race this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, it's been a hoot talking with you all, man. We very appreciate it. Hope to see you guys again, if not just at the track, but just in and around the community. And if you ever get Jesse Ventura on, man, I'll be listening.
Oh, yeah,
Is he your boy?
We're working on it.
Excellent. Roger that. Thanks.
I have a question. You were talking about...
Is it true, false? I'm good at those.
Well, it could be true, false. Yes, no. I can make it a true, false.
You could answer
True or false? Here we go. True or false? Have you ever, or has anyone...
I was going to say that's a yes or no.
Wait, no.
but I can
we'll do yes or no.
I can say true or false if you like.
It's hot in this.
It's a 50-50.
This garage.
See, we're not one of those big teams. Actually, we do have air conditioner. Why we're sitting here with the door up into the 80 degrees, I'm not really sure. But about this time of day, these giant mosquitoes start coming in, so we're going to have to shut the door in a little while and
Heck yeah.
turn on the AC.
Mosquitoes like me too much. I don't like those suckers. Have you ever had the deuce urge while you're riding around? Well, we talked about urinating.
Fortunately, I never have.
Have you known anybody that has?
Yes.
That they had to.
Currently, one of the drivers that is in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship has a pretty embarrassing story about that. But
Oh, really?
I'm not going to throw him under the bus because karma will come.
Yeah, let's save that for another show.
Yeah.
Do they have cameras on the dashboard and stuff?
Not in my truck. It cost $10,000. That's
Are
To
you
put a camera?
serious?
yeah.
It cost?
Yeah, the team, whatever sponsor, of course you're guaranteed TV time, but you have to pay $10,000 to get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Per race?
Yeah, so if y'all want one,
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Not this go. You win, then maybe, yeah.
So, trivia
Okay.
question from, well, no, not trivia question, but the winner from the Rob Pincus deal.
Yeah.
You getting Rob Pincus to 20,000
Getting
likes
20,000.
on Facebook.
We have a winner. And the winner is Kyle N. from Wisconsin.
So, Kyle, if you're listening, we'll have to put this on Facebook and YouTube, too, because
Yeah, we'll post it on
We
there
did it all
also.
three
But
places.
if you guys know Kyle N. from Wisconsin, let him know.
Yep.
Can I say a little more precise Wisconsin?
Yeah. Well,
Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
there you go. You
Kyle
know
from Black River Falls, Wisconsin. You are the winner of the Rob Pincus prize package.
that. And he got a lot
Congratulations,
of
man.
ICE swag there. So,
Yeah, that's some
send
cool
us
stuff.
your info on our email, talkingled@gmail.com. We'll get that to you. As far as trivia question for this week, let's make it Clay Greenwood related.
Greenwood?
who is Clay Greenwood?
Yeah, we'd like to know
What did
who.
oh, my bad. You think it's proud to be an American?
Although is that Lee Greenwood's cousin?
Yeah, don't feel bad. When I raced the UARA Star Series,
Uh-huh.
the announcer, I raced there 2 full seasons. The announcer, when he was announcing everybody, we'd pull up
Yeah.
on the front straightaway and stop, do driver introductions. And I was Clay, some sort of green something that I'm not every race. I
Green
can't,
Pond?
actually, it may have been Greenwood. I think that's what he said.
Well, you already have the Lee Greenwood stuff going, so it's easy to just roll off your mouth, I guess. I don't know.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Clay Greenfield, and that should be easy to remember.
Exactly.
Just redo it.
See, my first name and my last name all tie into the same
Clay,
in field.
Green, and Field.
Field.
Ah, see? And we'll
Yeah.
never forget it again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to make it easy for people. I think that's what my parents were going for.
Or they were just sitting on the porch and go, what are we going to name him? Clay.
Clay.
That's a green field out there.
Sure is a green
Green field.
What's your middle name?
Michael.
Damn,
Oh,
that don't tie
that just
in.
kind of screwed the whole thing.
Screwed the whole philosophy.
Yeah,
there.
but see, you have these prominent names, or you people, that's a really analytical concept of how they came up with their name.
Mhm.
Pretty easy to figure out where Greenfield came from.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty simple.
Yeah, the history behind Greenfield.
Yeah.
Farmers,
Yeah.
most likely. Or landscapers, one of the two. We've mentioned his number a bunch, so everybody knows it's 68. What was the...
No,
he said
no,
at the
no,
beginning of the show.
highest position he's ever finished in a race. How about that?
Well,
I won a bunch of times. I think about
Yeah.
177 times. Oh, now you want to go throw it in there in the Camping World Truck Series? No, I haven't won that.
oh.
So
What's the highest place that Clay Greenfield, number 68, has... Did I say Greenwood?
no, you
said
said Phil.
Okay. has
Paranoid
placed
bastard.
in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and what race was it? So it's a 2-part question. To do a little research on that, find out, and get back with us.
and the
post
winner
it.
will get something very cool.
Yes.
A pat on the back.
We'll figure it out.
We'll come up with something cool. I don't know. What do we got?
We'll do a video. If you don't like this guy's answer the question right, well, then
How about a Pincus DVD?
there you go. The winner of that will get an ICE Personal Defense Network DVD, training DVD.
And a, what are they called?
Challenge coin?
And a challenge coin.
Yep. There we go. So look that up. Get back to us with that. Like to thank our sponsors once again, Firearms Radio Network. That's firearmsradio.tv.
Are we not going to do
Son of a biscuit. Yeah, we are. So now it's time for
Facts to Fight the Myth? And
So-
we're going to do a little different this time. Instead of gun related, it's going to be NASCAR related.
Because
And
we have Clay Greenfield here with us.
Number 68.
So you have
Number
a
68.
myth, a little NASCAR truck myth that you got out there?
Well, just what kind of irks me, gets under my skin a little bit, is especially new fans to NASCAR. They think that all the cars and trucks out on the track are equal, and just the guy winning drives the hardest. And you get out and that guy really wanted it. That's why he won today. Well, no, that's really not the case, and people don't realize how dependent the equipment you're racing against, that you have on the racetrack is. There's millions of dollars that goes into most of the teams, and you sort of look around our shop and you see there's definitely not millions of dollars sitting here. And
I don't know, there probably is.
There's so much technology that goes into the race trucks and the big teams that literally work on $4 to $6 million a year budgets. So it's really tough for you have a handful of teams that just have so much more technology than everybody else, and there's such variations in equipment throughout the field that all the drivers that compete at the NASCAR level, they're obviously really good, and I would say that the equipment you're in is 90% of the success rate. And it's to the point where you can take a guy that's just okay, put him in the best equipment out there, and he's going to be pretty successful. But you could take the best driver in the world and put in the worst equipment, and he might pick it up a little bit, but it's not going to be competitive. So there's only so much that the driver can do, and I guess that's mainly the biggest thing that gets under my skin, because I haven't always had the opportunity to race in the best equipment. I sort of feel like I've had chains around my ankles the whole time I've been in NASCAR, never had the opportunity to really show what I can do. But
Gotcha.
I know going to Talladega we have a really good piece. So
yeah, and I know that there's probably a lot of our listeners that are NASCAR fans, and probably some big hitters out there that might one day like to sponsor a NASCAR.
Anybody wants to do that, go right ahead. Exactly.
Right? We'll hook them up.
Where would they go? You got a website?
Yeah, I can be reached at claygreenfield.com, or surprisingly or not, I typically, I'm kind of sort of in a good place with my Twitter, with big enough that I have a lot of followers. It's always entertaining.
I saw you got the blue check mark.
Whenever I get on, I always have mentions. So if I get bored, there's always people to talk to on there. But I'm not so big that I'm still able to respond to most of my comments. Somebody comes at me with something that's creative or funny or entertaining, I'm jump right back at it. There's a lot of people. The interesting thing about Twitter is there's people that I just thought were entertaining or funny and followed, and I consider them really close friends. Like my favorite is at NASCARcasm, and he comes up with all kinds of freaking hilarious things about NASCAR. It's one of those things that
I like that.
Yeah, it's NASCARCASM. He doesn't even know how to pronounce it.
NASCARcasm.
I call it NASCARcasm because that's easier than saying NASCARcasm, because that's really how it should technically be pronounced. But ended up just one of those things. If you're not a NASCAR fan, you may not necessarily get all of his jokes, but I ended up inviting him to a race, and now we talk almost every day. I consider him one of my best friends.
Nice.
That's
awesome. So get a hold of them there if they want to sponsor, and then also make sure you watch the race.
Or you can get in touch with us. And, definitely you guys want to make sure you check out the race, because we are sponsoring the car at this race and hopefully the next race coming
up.
up.
Our logo flying around that.
So we've got the big
oval
talking lead on the truck bed and on the sides. So
what time? It's on Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday. I think coverage starts at 3:00
on Fox Sports 1, right?
Yes, on Fox Sports 1.
Fox Sports 1.
And practice and qualifying on Friday are also live on Fox Sports 1. I'm not sure the exact times on those, but check.
Cool. So Friday, awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. The coverage starts.
We're excited.
I'm excited about going. This is going to be my first race.
I'm glad to have you all on board.
Pepper's going to go too. So you'll get to meet Pepper, and we're just going to hang out and stay out of your way, and hopefully bring you some good luck.
I hope so.
You know what they say about redheads?
I'll be screaming at the screen. Do people scream at NASCAR races?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. my favorite thing is I had a guy come up to me not too long ago and said, "Hey, did you hear me at Daytona cheering for you?" And I looked at him with a straight face and was like, "That was you?"
That's awesome.
I don't know how do they set up seats there? Can you get on the track?
No.
On the track.
No, like in the center of the track.
Define on the track. That's where you're going to be. You have to, you have to have. It's called the infield, but
the infield. Okay,
sort of.
I was going to say that would make for a
you're somewhat
track.
On the right track.
That would make for one.
So I don't have to run
race.
across the track to get to the concession stand back and forth.
No,
that's what makes it more interesting. That's why I said if we go to a race, it's so much bigger.
Yeah, it's all going to come to me when I get there, right?
They just never show that
It'll
part
all
on
make
TV because they don't want to
you might get distracted in the campground and never make it to the pit area.
You're like on football games. You see people running through the opposite end zone when they're on the other end.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they did on the race. They'd run across the racetrack.
That'd be a little more dangerous than a football game.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. So,
I didn't actually think that that's what they did.
but
Sure.
for awesome radio gold there. So.
Yeah.
So thanks to our sponsors, firearmsradio.tv, our bandwidth sponsor.
U.S. Elite Gear, us-elitegear.com. Make sure you go there and use the promo code TalkingLead to get your big fat discount.
All or Nothing Tattoo Studios, that's allornothingtattoo.com, and their gun-friendly merchandise store, strangleholdmerch.com.
Holder and Green Professional Real Estate Services, HG Press, 1-800-615-1840, extension 2222.
ICE Training, icetraining.us.
And our new sponsor, Clutch Defense, clutchdefense.com. And
Clay
Clay
Greenfield.
Greenfield, number 68, NASCAR Camping World Series driver.
Driver. That was awesome. Clay, thanks for joining us today, man.
Hey guys, this has been some of the most entertaining couple hours I've had in my life.
And the second most organized radio show.
Yeah, and the second most organized radio show I've been a part
We
of.
are that.
Yeah.
And give yourself
A sarcastic second most organized radio show I've been a part of.
give yourself.
But you're definitely the most fun by
There you
far.
go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're definitely gonna have to take you to the range with us on one of our shows.
Oh yeah, I'd love
yeah.
to.
Yeah, you're in.
All right.
You're in the crew.
And to follow Clay, claygreenfield.com.
It's
And-
actually at Clay Greenfield on Twitter.
And at Clay Greenfield on Twitter. Didn't you say you had Clay Greenfield?
Oh yeah, I do. I'm
I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't hallucinate.
I've been to your website.
here. I'm dogging you on that. I thought you were trying to pitch the Twitter handle, but you were going for the website.
We're
Yes.
trying to get it all, encompass
Yeah.
everything.
One big pitch.
Exactly. Being,
So you have at Clay Greenfield on Twitter, and then claygreenfield.com is your website.
yes,
And they can get in touch with you through the website or Twitter, either one.
exactly.
If you want to be a sponsor, holler at us or go to his website and or tweet him.
And as always, left hand,
Keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer.